Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. For today's video, we've traveled all the way up to Ohio to get an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the all-new Aston Martin Vulcan, a new track-only supercar limited to just 24 units, all at around $2.3 million a piece. Huge thanks and shout out to Cleveland Motorsports in North Olmsted, Ohio for allowing us to come up here. For more information about their dealership and current inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below. This is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Vulcan. I'll teach you everything you ever wanted to know about the car, inside and out. We'll hop on in, check out all the interior features. Later on in the video, we'll get some of the folks here to help us out and demonstrating the startup sequence and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be so much fun. I hope you guys enjoy. At the time I filmed this, and it probably still holds true today, this was the first Vulcan to be delivered in the United States. It's finished in Fiamma Red, a brilliant metallic hue with tons of exposed exterior carbon fiber work. Inside, it's carbon fiber galore with a full roll cage and racing seats that are leather wrapped. There's red accents splashed across the seats and other trim pieces. Like I said earlier, we'll demonstrate the entire startup sequence and fire up the Vulcan later in the video, but first I'll go ahead and walk you through the process of turning the vehicle's power on. You want to first pull the little red electrical isolator switch in the center console, then twist the ignition dial to 1 and everything will illuminate. The Vulcan comes with 2 detachable steering wheels. The first is made by Sebelt and is used for transporting the car. The second is a wild-looking 3-spoke carbon fiber steering wheel that combines all of the vehicle's essential features in an easy-to-understand layout. The latter is a $20,000 piece should you ever need to replace it and serves as the Vulcan's key. On the upper left spoke, the in-car communication system and flash and pass indicators are represented by the yellow and blue ringed buttons respectively. On the right side, neutral is engaged by the green button, while the red button activates a speed limiter for traveling through pit lane. Also on the upper right spoke is a dial for the variable intermittent wipers. Behind both upper grips at the top of the wheel are 2 small buttons that correspond to the left and right turn signals. Towards the bottom there's 2 buttons, one cycles through the information on the dashboard and the other resets the fuel used value on the display. The 2 dials, one for the 11-mode ABS and the other for the 7-mode traction control systems, will be discussed more in depth later in the video. The paddle shifters are conveniently mounted to the back of the wheel so they're always within reach rather than being on the column, especially through the corners. The Vulcan delivers its power to the rear wheels through a 6-speed sequential transaxle. Supplied by X-Track is mounted at the rear of the car and integrates a limited slip differential. There's straight-cut gears and a clutch pedal for maneuvering and launch. When traveling at speeds over 200 miles an hour, it's actually geared for a higher top speed than Aston Martin's other GT race cars. A lightweight magnesium torque tube houses the carbon fiber drive shaft and provides a solid connection between the engine and transaxle to mitigate rotational torque and lead to more efficient power delivery. The Vulcan represents Aston Martin's most extreme high-performance offering to date. An uncompromised, track-focused race car that's limited to 24 units and costs around $2.3 million a piece. Unlike the Ferrari FXXK and the McLaren P1 GTR, the Vulcan was not created based off an existing street-legal model. It was designed to be Aston Martin's ultimate expression of track-focused performance, while at the same time being a showcase for advanced engineering and design techniques. Inspired by the Avro Vulcan Bomber, the Vulcan was developed in conjunction with Aston Martin Racing. It's almost entirely made from carbon fiber, styled entirely in-house with a fresh design language that's said to hint at the next generation of Aston Martin sports cars. The chassis was inspired by the 177, but it features a new rear scuttle and tunnel structure for the integrated roll cage and a new rear subframe. The latter supports the transmission, rear suspension, and additional loading from the massive rear wing on the tail end. A lot of that can be viewed by removing the section over the rear of the car. The substantial use of carbon fiber here really pays off when it comes to weight savings, superior strength, and rigidity over conventional materials. The central tub weighs just 180 kilograms or 396.8 pounds. It's produced by Multimatic and a team of 9 individuals in Canada. Each tub takes over 4 days to produce and passes through an autoclave 3 times before completion. A very important element to any car of this caliber, of course, is aerodynamics. In fact, when combining the massive front splitter, rear diffuser, and an adjustable rear wing, the Vulcan is said to create enough downforce to compete with GT3 level race cars. The Silhouette features numerous splitters, diverters, and louvers that make the air work in the car's favor at all times, whether it be for heat dissipation, brake cooling, or downforce. At 100 miles per hour, the car generates 324 kilograms or 714.3 pounds of downforce. At speeds over 200 miles an hour, maximum downforce is an incredible 1,362 kilograms or 3,002 pounds. Through computational fluid dynamic testing, aerodynamic balance was shown to be 41% over the front and 59% over the rear, helping minimize changes in pitch sensitivity and balance between the front and rear regardless of whether you're accelerating or braking. For example, when comparing the Vulcan's standard ride height of 2.36 inches in front and 3.15 inches in the rear to the height when braking, 1.57 and 3.94 inches respectively, the aero balance only changes by about 7%. This gives the car a neutral behavior on the track for greater stability and driver feedback. To make maneuvering the car a bit easier, whether it be for tire changes or simple repositioning, there's 4 onboard air jacks that are operated by inserting a high-pressure air line into the rear of the car. It's quite an awesome sight in person.
How's it going? My name's Dan from Aston Martin Cleveland, the business manager here. What I'm doing, this car has jacks that when you take the air compressed nozzle into the back here where you see the plug, it'll actually raise the car up. It'll put 4 jacks down on the ground, and then from there we can slide dollies underneath it to move it around as we need to. It's a track-focused item. When you're on a track and you need to switch tires after a few laps, it's a lot easier just to jack it back up, take all the tires off, mount them, pull it back, and then you're on your way.
The styling and silhouette of the car is simply stunning, featuring a highly functional shape with a level of fit and finish and attention to detail you'd expect to see in any of Aston Martin's regular production models. Despite being designed solely for the track, the Vulcan combines the latest in LED lighting technology for proper illumination regardless of the weather or time of day. The LED headlamps feature daytime running lights and turn signals. The unique light blade elements you see up front also make up both taillight assemblies. It's the first production application of these light forms after their initial appearance on the DP100 digital concept car. They look so cool in person, I've never seen anything else like it. In the middle of the rear fascia above the diffuser is an FIA-approved rain light. The windshield, side windows, and rear window are made from hard-coated polycarbonate. This introduces a number of benefits as the material is shatter-resistant, weighs 50% less, and is 250 times stronger than glass. On top of that, it allowed designers to achieve the level of curvature for the windshield. With each Vulcan also comes a unique driver experience program which includes training at a variety of circuits around the world so owners can really explore the full potential of their cars. There's almost infinite flexibility when it comes to colors and trim options, allowing each car to be personally tailored to each buyer based on their specific requests. As exclusive as the car is, this was an incredible opportunity to see what the Vulcan was all about. Hopefully sometime this year we'll actually get a chance to see it out on the track. The Vulcan features a bespoke set of forged 10-spoke alloys designed to be lightweight and strong. They're finished in satin black and measure 19 by 11.5 inches in front and 19 by 12.5 inches in the rear, wrapped in wide 305/30 and 345/30 Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires respectively. Each wheel features center locking hubs to allow for quicker wheel changes when racing. Providing the necessary stopping power to match the Vulcan's performance are a set of Brembo carbon ceramic racing discs and Brembo competition lightweight calipers. Up front you'll find 14.96 by 1.33 inch discs with 6-piston calipers, while 14.17 by 1.26 inch discs bring at the rear with 4-piston calipers. They're all cross-drilled and internally ventilated. Towards the outer edges of the front fascia are dedicated brake cooling ducts that appear to be integrated into the chassis. Air is taken in and routed to each front rotor via 2 pipes on either side. Additional ductwork and fins within the nearly smooth wheel wells help lessen wind resistance, improve heat extraction, and reduce positive pressure buildup for enhanced downforce. The rear wheel wells feature similar cooling and downforce measures with mesh grills in the rear fascia and more fins. A Bosch M4 Motorsport ABS system allows the driver to select between 11 different levels of involvement, controlled by a twist dial on the left of the steering wheel. Bosch also supplies an adjustable traction control system that allows you to tune the level of slip angle permitted before the car attempts to regain control and put you back on track. That's a 7-mode system ranging between 0 for no assistance on a dry track to 7 for full assistance on a wet track. The suspension is a sight to behold, built with anti-dive geometry in front and anti-squat, anti-lift geometry in the rear. The only way you can get a really good look at is within the engine compartment or by removing the rear window assembly like I showed you earlier. Underneath the car is a completely flat carbon fiber underbody only broken up by naked ducts towards the rear of the car. At each corner there's fully independent pushrod operated double wishbones and adjustable front and rear anti-roll bars. The Vulcan's 4-way adjustable dampers feature dynamic suspension spool valve technology, which allows both high and low speed bump and rebound to be independently managed on each damper. You can easily remember what does what by remembering B and R, or blue and red, for bump and rebound respectively. The front dampers are mounted longitudinally rather than horizontally to save weight and improve engine cooling, while the rear dampers are horizontally opposed. Overall length I imagine is a bit longer than a 177, which is 181.1 inches. Width is 86.6 inches excluding the mirrors, while height is 47.7 inches. Wheelbase is 110.2 inches, while curb weight is around 2,900 pounds. To open the Vulcan's huge carbon fiber hood, you reach within the little compartments just above the fender vents. There you'll find a lever on either side to release the 2 hood latches. Once you do that, you simply lift up where a set of gas-charged struts provide assistance. The concept and layout is somewhat similar to the 177, which featured a 750 horsepower 7.3-liter V12 with variable valve timing. On a seemingly different end of the spectrum, the Vulcan's 7-liter V12 is based on Aston Martin's fixed-cam 6-liter V12 GT3 race engine. In creating the Vulcan's mill, there's a new block along with new pistons, liners, connecting rods, and crank. It's all controlled by a Cosworth ECU. Similar to the 177, the Vulcan's engine sits behind the front axle in a front midship configuration for better weight distribution. It's a work of art with carbon fiber valve covers and a matched weave intake plenum with twin pipes that reach across the bay to gobble up as much cold air as possible from the front. The Vulcan develops around 820 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. I'd estimate it'll take less than 3 seconds to hit 60 with a top speed perhaps as high as 220 miles an hour. In the dash, there's a small rotary dial with 3 positions, labeled 1, 2, and 3. This allows you to adjust the power output based on your comfort level and skill on the track. The first position limits the car to 550 horsepower, the second raises the limit to 680 horsepower, and the third unleashes the maximum horsepower available. As far as the exhaust system, it's made from Inconel and titanium, along with titanium brackets and an Inconel heat shield. This combination significantly reduces weight and is becoming more common in the hypercar territory. The side exit exhausts are a particularly unique touch. They ensure the shortest exit of exhaust gases, but potential downforce is unaffected as they don't have to take up real estate in the rear diffuser, benefiting both performance and downforce. Louvers on the carbon fiber side seals help dissipate heat from the exhaust. While it hasn't been fitted to this example yet, Aston Martin will soon be releasing a new cartridge-based oil filter system which is said to allow for 90-second oil changes. In the front fascia, there's a dedicated air channel that runs the length of the carbon fiber hood before dumping into a dedicated port on the passenger side of the windshield cowl, sending fresh air into the interior. A 120-liter or 31.7-gallon fuel tank sits within the carbon fiber chassis for maximum safety. The fuel filler is accessed by a lockable metal cap on the rear of the passenger side roofline. The Vulcan's interior is full-on race spec with clever use of technology and a very easy to understand minimalistic layout. The carbon fiber doors are super lightweight and feature leather pull straps. They open in the traditional swan wing fashion by simply grabbing the flush-mounted handles. Once the locks are disengaged, the doors practically swing open by themselves. Throughout, there's a blend of glossy and satin finished carbon fiber. The latter minimizes glare from the sun in key areas. A full FIA-compliant roll cage provides the highest degree of occupant protection. It's made of an advanced type of aero-grade, heat-treated high-strength steel, one that combines chromium, molybdenum, and vanadium. These elements create a cage that's able to be made thinner than if they used the conventional T45 gauge steel, leading to less weight and cabin intrusion while retaining a high degree of strength. In fact, the whole cage weighs only 32 kilograms or 70.5 pounds, about 13.2 pounds less than if they were made from the thicker steel. With the strength provided by the roll cage, engineers were also able to use thinner grade carbon fiber for the roof pillars for additional weight savings and lowering the car's center of gravity. With the wraparound front windows, this leads to excellent forward visibility. The carbon fiber one-piece racing seats supplied by Recaro are deeply sculpted with a tremendous amount of upper and lower lateral support. Combined with Schroth's 6-point racing harnesses, they keep your body and head firmly in place. The seats are also FIA compliant and are frontal head restraint compatible while wearing a helmet. As you might expect, climbing in is no small task as you have to step over the roll bars and fall into the seat, but once you're in it feels like a genuine fighter jet. Everything surrounds the driver and is within easy reach. Aside from the steering wheel controls, there's a bank of toggles that run down the floating center console. We'll discuss those functions in just a bit. The passenger side seat is fixed to the tub while the driver's seat offers fore and aft adjustment. For added customizability, there's an adjustable AP Racing pedal box along with a manual tilting telescoping steering column. For easier in-car communication, the Vulcan comes standard with a built-in intercom system that's routed through both of the occupants' helmets. A button on the steering wheel labeled as the walkie-talkie activates the system, which can also be used to communicate with a pit crew. For greater safety in the event of a fire, the Vulcan is equipped with an FIA spec 3-liter fire extinguisher system that's routed through the cabin and engine compartment. You simply press the round button located above the emergency electrical isolator switch to the right of the center stack. If internal activation is not possible, the extinguishers can be activated externally by a small emergency tab on the edge of the driver's side windshield cowl. Rather than a traditional instrument cluster, the Vulcan features a Cosworth Omega digital display along with a Cosworth Alive Drive data acquisition system and USB storage. The latter offers telemetry data combined with an in-car camera and GPS-based video recording. The digital display has 4 modes. You can select through them via a small button on the bottom left of the steering wheel. All 4 show the ABS, traction control, and engine mapping you have set, while only 3 show what gear you're in. The race screen shows essential information such as engine and vehicle speed, fuel used, and lap data. The dynamic screen shows tire pressures, while the system screen shows a selection of onboard system parameters such as oil pressure, oil temperature, water temperature, and more. Finally, the diagnostic screen shows a much greater range of vehicle parameters, giving you a highly detailed snapshot of everything that's going on at all times. The buttons on the center stack consist of your hazards, exterior lighting, rain light, the heated windshield, activation of the radiator cooling fans up front, and your electric exterior mirrors. The Vulcan comes standard with air conditioning and it's always on. You can control the fan speed by a dial to the left-hand side of the dash. There's 3 settings that consist of off, low, and high speeds. The vents are fixed on the passenger side, but the driver has 3 vents below the steering column that are adjustable via the tilting and telescoping features. There's some padding to the left of the center stack as well as across the central tunnel. Up top is a manually dimming rearview mirror.
Hey guys, Michael Thomas, General Manager, Aston Martin Cleveland. We got Kyle behind the camera. And we're just going to go over the starting sequence of the Aston Martin Vulcan. As Kyle talked about before, the steering wheel is actually the key to the vehicle. So we're just going to plug that in. Now we're just going to go over how to power the vehicle. So we're going to hit this red tab out here, pull that, turn the ignition switch to 1, and then we'll see the screen appear here. Now in order to start the Vulcan, we have to first prime the engine. In order to do that, we're just going to hit this red start button right here.
Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, guys.